Hey, how you doing? You know, so I just wanted to talk about how for the last maybe couple weeks it's been like I don't even know how to explain it. It's pretty much been like, before I used to hear this chatter in my head, like a lot of things going on. But the more I've tapped into myself, the more, well, let's just say there's silence now. And I think like I've gotten used to all the noise and now I'm getting used to the silence, the calm, the release of just like feeling no pressure, um, and the quietness is, I've been alchemizing a lot. Let's just say that. I've been alchemizing a lot. And I'm saying this because I wanted to get, my goal is to stay on my path, my life's path, to continue to connect with my higher self at all times and understand what that means. But when you encounter new things, what seems to happen is like my higher self is like, this is easy, this is a breeze. It's nothing to it. But my body and my mind, well, not my body, but my mind, it takes time to adjust to new things. So all those, my higher self in me is calm. There's this, separation to where my higher self has to train my brain. My brain is like anxious. It's like, it's too quiet. It's boring, and it's just like the calmness is necessary, you know. It's just that adjustment. And, you know, I've expressed that on TikTok plenty of times, like feeling something and going through the process of actually accepting that feeling and just letting it flow through you as you flow with it. And it'll go away, you know? But I gotta say, it's been like 2 weeks, maybe even longer, of just nothing. I mean, no chatter. Very easy to concentrate and meditate. Very easy. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel high, but I'm not. Like, it's a feeling of like, you just have this natural high. I can't even explain it. And I've met people and I've tried to express myself, and you get so far and then projection comes. And you know, I don't care about the projection because I don't. That's I don't. I feel like that. If you're projecting, that's not for me. That's for you. But I think now I find that I just when you're in this place in this space in your life, you want to find people who can understand where you are and kind of understand that your path is an unlike human path. I've seen things, I feel things, and I've experienced things that just are unbelievable to I mean when it comes to being human, a lot of things are would be unbelievable because some things are just, you know, crazy. Having battles with spirits, um, you know, and I'm here, but you know, knowing that when I had my surgery, now that I think about it and I'm talking about it, I done got here. There was something just so it was something about that day. And from the moment the anesthesia was used, I just gotta say, I've had a different perspective on life. Like, I can't really explain. Well, I'm gonna try to explain. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how, even though the anesthesia was supposed to knock me out, I was still having a spiritual experience. I felt myself being removed. I felt a slight panic of how am I going to get back to my body. And then all of a sudden, I was just paralyzed. I was loopy. I could not move. And the more I tried to move, the harder it got. And I got to this point where I was just like, I can't get away from this. I'm going to have to experience whatever this fear is, I'm going to have to experience it. And, you know, I made the TikTok video, but when I was thinking back, I was thinking back on how I started to remember. And, you know, during this time, you know, meditating, I'm thinking I'm having these visions, but in reality, I was starting to remember what was happening. I started to remember being sucked out. I started to remember that it felt like death. And that was my experience of death for the first time. Because I realized that was the first time I realized I was not in my body. And when I came to and opened my eyes and saw that I was back in my body, something changed. And after my surgery, they gave me the pills for pain, and that triggered something else. And I stopped doing that, stopped taking the pills, and I started to meditate. And I would get so deep that things were happening that I couldn't explain. I was the battle I had with an entity, which I actually think was me remembering, was me actually remembering that. Hold on, I don't even got no lights on, nothing. Hold on. It was, I think it was me remembering my surgery. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like I had a battle with death and I won. So when I had a battle with the spiritual entity, I was like froze. And I was in a different location and I was inside. My spirit was inside of another being and I was in another dimension. It was ice cold. And this being was like a glowing shape of a human, but it was glowing. And I think it was blue or green. It was blue or green. And it just was standing right in front of me. And I knew, like, in this realm, there's like, there was like zero fear, but at the same time, I knew it was cold. And the being grabbed me. And when the being grabbed me, I was trying to, like ease myself off. Like, there's another way to deal with this other than this way. And then it grabbed me harder. And when it grabbed me harder, I like just, and I saw the sun, and a beam from the sun hit me at the top of my crown. And when it hit me at the top of the crown, there was like this explosion. And when the dust settled, it was just me. And immediately, I got sucked back into my body. And I was shivering. And I was trying to write. But I wrote it in my journal. And then 2 more times after that, I was meditating. And the second time, it was like I recognized that. And I knew. And I was like, are we doing this again? And then I was just like, nah, I'm going right past it. I went right past it. But I felt that coldness again. That freezing cold. And the third time it was the same, but the third time, by that time, I was already like, I didn't have no fear of it. Because at this point, I realized what it meant to be an eternal being. We truly are eternal beings. In an avatar human vessel. So now when I come to, after all the things that I went through, all these dates equaling up to 9 and 9 being a factor, now, when I find myself like my mind saying, I'm bored and there's no chatter, there's nothing going on here, I find myself, reprogramming my brain and saying, I just tell my brain, my higher self just says, stop. And right now, as I'm talking about this, I have this ringing in my right ear. It's usually in both, but I just want to share how this experience has made me love myself so much. So, 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 so much. Like I am deeply in love with myself. And I know how that sounds. But being deeply in love with myself and connecting with everything on this planet has truly taught me how to love unconditional. Even the people that I have issues with, and it's not really issues, it's just we ain't on the same frequency. And when I'm not on the same frequency as someone, at some point, we have a disagreement. But the love is still there. I'm completely love everything in its existence for exactly what it is. I love the good, I love the bad, I love it all. I love it all. I love the evil. I love all of it. Because again, you just can't have love without hate. You can't have peace without war. And I realized that you can't have calm until you've gone through the storm. So at the end of the day, just love. Just love. I am Pal, but all my friends call me Sunny. Love and peace, because as always, love comes first. I love you all.